This is Marco Reus.
This is Shinji Kagawa.
This is Nuri Shahin.
Hello, this is Jadon Sancho.
And you're listening to the Yellow Wall podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 503 of the Yellow Wall Pod. I'm your host Stefan Butzko, and today we will talk about Dortmund's Easter comeback against the false Borussia, and we will preview Saturday's match away to TSG Hoffenheim. For all that and more, joins me Matthias Zug. Hello Matthias, how are you doing?
Hey Stefan, I am doing well. How are you doing?
I am doing well myself. Lars is excused. I'm not entirely sure why, but he said something came up, so he can't be here there. But yeah, a lot of things did come up on Sunday. During the game against Gladbach, Borussia Dortmund did manage to win their 11th home match in a row against the Foles. And spoiler, I was very nervous throughout the entire game. I think around the 60th minute or so, I got a heart rate warning from my Apple Watch. And if you're just sitting there on the couch, not really moving around, and your heart rate is at a heightened level, that can only mean one thing, at least in my case, is that I'm nervous about a sports team most of the time, Dortmund, and while Gladbach, after scoring the penalty in the end, did not really have too many chances. To me, it still was kind of edge of the seat stuff, because if Dortmund did not come away with the win, you sort of can kiss the season goodbye, or at least the run for the, I don't know if you want to say Champions League spots, but at least Europa League spot, which Dortmund are now very much in for. So yeah, a very fun game overall. Matthias, you wanna do your first takes on the game before I add my mustard, as they say in German?
Yes, we'll add all the condiments now. No, it was a fun match to watch. Yes, very nervous. It was very typical. I mean, a lot of Dortmund-Gladbach matches seem to go along this route. It was very intense, very feisty, which is what I like. I like matches where there's a little bit of edge in there, where the game is like kind of on the edge of going out of control because of emotions and passion, so on and stuff like that. Now, granted, I will say Gladbach was the main reason why there was that edge and feistiness in it. Stöger trolling the Südkurve. Not the coolest move in the world.
Südtribüne, I'm sorry.
Südtribüne. Where did that
it's
come
the
from?
Freaking Yellow Wall part. This is a cardinal sin you must not commit on this podcast.
Well, I had the right direction, okay? I'm old. Leave me alone.
No.
No,
this is like what commentators who spend too much time in Munich call it.
Yeah.
And I always get upset, so I can't let you get away with this.
There were just incidences on the pitch. I still have some question marks behind what led to the penalty kick for Gladbach. So, no, it was a lot going on in this match. And, of course, Dortmund scoring 3 goals in really, a tight period of time. I think it's a total of 7 minutes. Completely flipped the match and the mood as well. And my general takeaway, and it's not just reserved to this match, I'll go back to Bayern and the second leg against Barcelona, is there seems to be a little bit of a fight in this team now, and it feels like, Stefan, and maybe this is just me projecting from these 3 matches, which all could have gone horribly wrong, by the way, that the squad seems to finally have gelled and found its rhythm after 30 match days.
Yeah, took them a while, but no, I agree with you. I think this is sort of the main takeaway of the last weeks. I already talked about it with Lars on the last episode, especially Niklas Süle saying about the Barcelona game, that they ran for each other more than pretty much any other game previously, and that this sort of needs to be the template. Now, granted, against the Gladbach, in the Gladbach game, you could see the fatigue, especially toward the end. But nevertheless, this Dortmund team in the current iteration, last few weeks at least, maybe not the first leg against Barcelona, but even there, I thought they at least tried. You can at least say that the identity of this team currently is that they fight until the end. And that is something that is very, very important to me, and something that's been lacking throughout most part of the season, and which is so vexing because, had they just given that kind of effort throughout the year, really, I think Dortmund would have been at least securely in the Champions League positions. I don't know what else would have been possible with this squad, but the fact that they are now in 7th place, and that is already a positive at this point, really goes to show what a horrible season it was. And I'm right there with you. That is really the overlying headline, that this team is finally trying. It almost feels like they've procrastinated all season, and now that the deadline is coming really toward them, they are trying to switch it on. And obviously on match day 34, or maybe sooner, depending on how results go, we will know whether it's just enough and they squeak maybe even in the Champions League. I mean, they're now 4 points off Leipzig, or whether it's just too little too late. My wish and hope is, though, that the last stretch of the season, if it's more positive than the rest of the season, does not blind the decision makers at the squad of making the important decisions that need to be made. That is all. But before we talk more about the 10,000 foot view, let's just talk a little bit about the goals and the game overall that happened, because we don't have that much else to discuss, honestly. I don't know how much I'm going to say about the Hoffenheim preview. But let's start in the 24th minute with the Itakura goal. So he just decided, Gladbach's center back, that he can just walk with the ball toward Dortmund's goal, and no one was really there to stop him. Be it Groß or Metscher, they sort of arguably should have committed the tactical foul. Adeyemi was sort of in the vicinity, but once he just blew past Adeyemi also didn't really try to stop him. And then I guess an unlucky touch from Benzebaini, who tried to get in between, and Itakura then scored. It was the first real chance Gladbach created, and they scored, took the lead. I don't know if you want to call it against the run of play. It was a very intense game until then, very fiery, as you said. And I think Dortmund, though, did handle it well. The Dortmund team of the past has often collapsed after, the first setback. That's not been the case. I think recently has not been the case. They did not collapse in the Bayern game after they went down by 2 goals, came back to rally to a draw, even in the Barcelona game, when you really felt the momentum leave the stadium after Benzebaini's own goal. They still managed to come back from that and score a third goal and, reinstill hope, at least for a little bit. I feel like we had the same theme here. Obviously, the game changer was, unfortunately, the injury to Maximilian Bayer. So I don't know if it was a brutal foul by Weigl, but it did not look good. I don't think he's going to miss for a long time. Probably just like a bad bruise or something that really hurts. But I don't know, from how it looked, I don't think he is going to be severely injured. But I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. We did get the news today that Pascal Groß will miss the Hoffenheim game with a ligament injury. So I think if Maximilian Bayer picked up something more severe, we would have heard about it by now. Kani Chukwuemeka was then the game changer. I think you just talked about the 7 minutes. He was involved in all 3 goals in one way or another. In the 31st minute, his counter pressing initiated the chance where he then just passed it off to Pascal Groß on the right side, then cross it into the box. And I just want to say, Guirassy, that side volley is not easy, especially when the ball has this little bounce like a few meters in front of him, and to hit it so perfectly that the goalkeeper can't save it is really hard to pull off. In theory, these balls look very easy to score, but in reality, everyone who has ever played football, it's very easy to scuff those chances. And now with 17 goals scored in all competitions in 2025, he is, I think, the third. That's like the third best score behind Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele in Europe. So that's an elite level, or at least an elite scoring number from Guirassy, and put Dortmund on the road to success in this game. And then, of course, 3 minutes later, Chukwuemeka again wins the ball on the right side, passes to Gross, who passes to Koto, and then Koto's cross gets deflected just a tiny bit by Adeyemi, but I think I remember Mecha saying in the post-game interview that it actually helped him to set up the ball even better for him. And that's another perfect strike from the edge of the box. And I can't wait on your opinion on the Svensson Sally. But that was actually, I thought that was the case of Gladbach sort of unraveling then, the third goal in like the 4th minute of stoppage time in the first half, where that, I think it was Stöger who had that free kick that went straight to Groß, who then laid it off to Mencha and then flicks it on again to Chukwuemeka, who slips but still recovers, dribbles past the defender, dribbles into the box, lays it off to Guirassy, who does not have the best shot but still a very good one, and Omlin's parry then lands right in front of Svensson, who I thought had a very nice composed lobbed header into the net, and Dortmund up 3-1, and it felt like, really, as you said, they turned the entire game on its head, and the Easter comeback perfect at that moment. I was very much taken by surprise to see Svensson have this somersault, really awesome, and of course, always happy for him if you score your first goal for Dortmund, that you do it in a home match in front of the Südtribüne. Matthias, what do you think of him being in the
that felt very passive aggressive, Stefan?
But how did you feel about the celebration? I think next to Aubameyang, Adeyemi, and so on, that was pretty cool. A bit of a side flip there in there too.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago, I'd have been like, awesome. Now I'm like, don't hurt yourself. Because, I mean, players have injured themselves doing crazy or even totally mundane celebrations. So, just given Dortmund's past, injury, misfortune, I'm like, don't do that now. But it was great. It was a fun moment for him. And when I look at Svensson and Chukwuemeka, great signings. They really add a lot of not just potential but immediate impact and upgrades to the side. So I was happy that both of them got involved in this way, and that obviously Svensson scored. It was kind of a 7-minute, or it's probably a total of about 10-minute period where Gladbach just completely fell apart. A lot of unforced errors, a lot of forced errors because Dortmund played well. Their positioning was good. Also in the central area, which was really surprising that Gladbach seemingly tried to play through that or pass through that or clear through that area where Dortmund have the most bodies. It's actually a mistake that Barcelona made time and time again in the return leg, and Dortmund was just able to capitalize on it very quickly, fast transitions, and nice clinical in front of goal. I mean, with Guirassy, the amount of goals he scored in the Bundesliga as well as in the Champions League is all great. If he would just be a little bit more clinical, I mean, that would probably be a total of 10 more goals between both competitions for him. So it was good to see him keep that scoring going at this crucial time in the season for Dortmund. And that just altered the match a lot, because the Itakura goal, and then obviously the penalty. And that was really it for Gladbach. I mean, when you take the penalty out, non-penalty XG was 0.6. I mean, it was really nothing there. Whereas Dortmund, of course, had a 1.4 without needing a penalty to get there, and way more overall shots, and way more possession. So I would say overall, very deserved victory for Dortmund. It would have been a crying shame had this ended in a draw. And kind of a snatch and grab job for Gladbach. But no, the team played really well. I think it also was good that Brandt came in with fresh legs off the bench. I last time I was on, I expressed let's call it concerns when it comes to Julian Brandt, major concerns when it comes to Gittens. And I just don't have those concerns with the players that are playing, because I feel like they're working really hard. And I also have to say, one player I've been very critical of, Jan Couto, in the last couple of weeks, has really played well overall. I thought he's done a good job. He shows his strengths, and he's also still a very young player. So if just given some more time and confidence and time to actually play, maybe he'll still come good. It's still come good. Makes it sound like he's 29.
Yeah, but I mean, we had this question about Julian Brandt if he'll still come good, considering it was actually his 350th Bundesliga appearance when he was subbed in, and that's he's the third youngest to reach that mark at the age he's reaching at. So it really shows how long Julian Brandt has been playing in the Bundesliga or been a pro. And I just feel like he's never really made the leap to sort of international class, just like the step we all hoped to see and expected. I think it just never came off with him. But back to Jan Couto and Niko Kovac, changing the system to back three and then having two fullbacks, be it Riasson or Jan Couto or Svensson, whoever, who are all better equipped to play that position, I think just helps the overall system. Having, be it Maxi Bayer or be it Adeyemi more centrally next to Girassi, or Adeyemi and Bayer both up front, also really matters. So I think the system change overall really has helped Dortmund, especially in gaining stability overall. They are leaking far less goals, and Chukwuemeka also thrives in that sort of number 10 position in behind the two strikers, if you will. So that's also a position that really does suit him. And it's obviously a small sample size, but right now in the expected assisted goals per 90 stat, he is leading the entire team with 0.4. I don't think he has grabbed an assist yet, but it just goes to show that his key passes, or his passing, his decision making in and around the box has been extremely strong. He obviously scored one goal. I think it was against Freiburg, right? So far for Dortmund, but it's really the big question: should Dortmund shell out? I think, was it 35 million euros or so, and break the bank?
30 or 35, yeah.
Yeah, for his release clause. I'm going back and forth on this. I've talked after the show with Lars about it. He said maybe not this season, because of the financial constraints Dortmund have. They certainly would have to sell off some other players first. Obviously Julian Brandt, I don't know how much money they would get for 28, or I think by the time the season is over, Julian Brandt has turned 29. I think his birthday is just like 2 weeks or something like that. But nevertheless, it's a hard decision, because skill set wise and the effort that he is showing, I would snap him up in a heartbeat. But on the other side, there's A, the price tag, and B, the question about his ability to remain healthy and available. So, Matthias, this is a question I pose to you with the recency bias of that performance. If you were Sebastian Kehl, Ricken, etc., and you're discussing the Kani Chukwuemeka question, would you sign him or not?
I would say yes. Given what I've seen in today's market and world, 35 million for a 21-year-old English player with that quality isn't much, to be perfectly honest. There are some questions as to what you do with some of the other players you have, versus who you then try to sell. But I would hate for basically you have him, you see what he could do, and he's a game changer. That's the other thing. He's a game changer when he plays. And that's a rare commodity. And if you have it in a central position, which is such a vital area of the pitch, more so than on the wings, I feel like Dortmund can't pass it up. Ideally you can wait another year, but if they can't, then I would take him. I mean, at the end of the day, with Kuto, Chukwuemeka, and Svensson, I mean, you basically have three players on loan that you're kind of going to buy. And, they're all young, 22, 21 years old. So, and they're showing their potential and value. Kuto now, finally. But Chukwuemeka, his impact is almost immediate. And that is something that I feel like Dortmund have to hold on to, especially
considering how little he has played. To
Correct.
Make that big of an impact instantly is unheard of almost.
Yeah, and then you look at the overall squad as far as, who's going to come, who's going to go. It's there are a few players where I'm like, if you sell them, you're going to get the cash in and you'll be fine. I'm thinking specifically of Jamie Gittins. He doesn't look like he wants to be here anymore. And, I feel like, fine, then you move him on. Kuto, I think, is already nailed on that Dortmund have to spend 25 million on him.
Yeah, I think he needs to spend like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Field.
I think Svensson is something. I mean, there are a few that they have actually pretty good buy clauses in them.
Svensson for 5 to 7 million is also a no-brainer considering how he's performing.
Yeah, that's really him and Kuto. If you would swap the Euro figures, it would make more sense. But given that one is coming from the Danish league and the other one is coming from Manchester City, we know where those economics sit. And so with Chukwuemeka, I think that makes perfect sense, especially because you're going to have a dynamic center of your midfield. I mean, Sabitzer, he's had a few longer-term injuries. He's 31 now. Pascal Gross, who I thought also had a really good match, by the way, against Gladbach. I mean, he's 33. Emre Can, though, he's impressed me.
Not a midfielder anymore.
Not a midfielder anymore, but he's also 31, which is fine. You can be in that kind of defensive role for a longer period of time. Felix Mecha is 24. He's really come good this season. So if you can kind of do that, I'd be okay if Sabitzer isn't there anymore, because he's getting older and he's got some injury woes, and that's where you can kind of balance those things on. With Julian Brandt, yeah, that's an obvious one you could move, but I don't know why, but for some reason I'd still hate to see him go.
I know, because he's a likable figure.
He's likable.
And you're rooting for him to turn it around.
Correct. And he has. That's the thing. He has in the past. After a few seasons where we're like, really, this guy? But you get rid of Gio Reyna. be honest. Jamie Gittens goes away, which I think you can compensate with Julien Duranville. Plus, you have Maxi Bayer, who can also play a more wing-focused role. And then, of course, you're switching back into central defense with Niklas Süle, who's somebody where I'm like, do you keep him? Do you let him go? He's on excessively high wages.
But the reports are that Dortmund want to extend him, but it's going to be for less money, basically.
Oh, it has to be. He hasn't proven out his value, especially when you look at Anton, who's now come good, Schlotterbeck, who is clearly the number one defender. In that pecking order, Süle has dropped down, especially because Can has played well. You can even slot Groß into a right back role, and he plays surprisingly well. So yeah, overall, I think going back to the original question with Chukwuemeka, I would sign him. You just have to. And I think Dortmund can wait until after the season. They don't have to do it right now, of course, because you kind of want to see where the season shakes out. If Dortmund finish in the top four, which, by the way, I feel slightly confident they can do. If they finish in the top four in the Champions League, then it's a no-brainer, spend the money. If they finish outside of the top four, I'd still do it. But then top four, it's a no questions asked for me.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm still really struggling to see a top four finish on the cards, because it's not only Leipzig who obviously have a tough run in. I think Leipzig still play against Bayern, they still play against Stuttgart. I think they play against Bremen.
Play against Frankfurt this next week.
Yeah, and Frankfurt. Yeah, you're right. So these are all teams that are probably in better form right now than Leipzig. But, first of all, Leipzig still have a good team. They might also feel the pressure of the deadline and all of a sudden perform. You never know that. And second of all, Freiburg are playing extremely well right now, so maybe they will not drop any more points and finish ahead of Dortmund. And like we said also last week, the idea that Dortmund, who have so far only managed a 2-game win streak twice this season, not even a 3-game win streak at all, for them to flip the switch, so to speak, and win 5 games on the bounce is also just not realistic, to be honest. Especially Dortmund also still play Leverkusen. The away trip to Hoffenheim, which we'll talk about in a minute, also not extremely easy for Dortmund. It's not been their best hunting ground either. So yeah, I'm still very cautiously optimistic, but like I said, if I wasn't sitting on the couch with a heart rate beyond 120 beats per minute, what did they say in Ted Lasso? It's the hope that kills you, and I think that's a little bit what it is right now. I'm first of all glad that, with 4 games left, everything matters now, and you're in a part of the season that's riveting. Every game now feels like a final. The players have said as much, but this is how it is. That's the characteristic of you screwing around for way too long. But the fact that the players have come together to give you some hope is also worth something, Matthias. And so, yeah, let's talk about this Hoffenheim game. Hoffenheim did lose 3-2, I think, on the weekend to Freiburg. And they are not a good team, but they can hurt us. The goal scorer of the last weekend, I think Marius Bülter and Kramaric have shown time and time again that they can hurt Dortmund. Marius Bülter did that also in a Schalke shirt back in the day. I don't know if we'll see the curse of the X, because I don't know if Maxi Bayer will be available for that game or not. But to be honest, I think I would start Chukwuemeka anyhow and not Maxi Bayer, because Chukwuemeka has just proven that he needs to be in the starting 11 if he's fit enough. And my hope is that he finally will be. And then I would have Adeyemi and Guirassy do up front. But yeah, Hoffenheim right now are in 15th place in the Bundesliga. I don't have the league table right in front of me, but I think they're safe from slipping all the way down to 16th. But nevertheless, although their season is more or less over, I don't think they have much to play for. It's obviously not a derby, but there is a certain rivalry between those teams that is undeniable, and I could tell that, or I can predict that Hoffenheim will be fired up for that in one way or another. If not, then their janitor will be. But yeah, Matthias, we've seen Dortmund a little bit tired against Gladbach, especially in the sort of the last 30 minutes or so. Dortmund had a lot of opportunities to score fourth. There were a few situations where, the counterattack, be it a 3 versus 2 counterattack or so, didn't quite come off. Julian Brandt had a very late chance. And of course, we should really mention the Ben Sebaini sliding challenge, because that was also awesome. I think on the 86th minute or so that came around, and we have not really fully talked about the penalty, but I feel like since we won the game, it doesn't matter too much. Although it might matter with Guirassy picking up a 4th yellow card for his shithousery. But yeah, Matthias, what can we expect now in this Hoffenheim game? Ideally, Dortmund take the newfound fighting spirit and fresher legs, that's for sure, to Hoffenheim and really just beat them with 3-4 goals or so, because the way Dortmund is currently playing, they have that in them. And then probably concede 1 or 2 as well. So my prediction would be a 4-2 win for Dortmund if everything goes according to plan. But it is a road game, and we know that Dortmund can surprise us also very much in a negative way. So what's your expectation and approach to this game?
Well, Stefan, I don't know if you remember, this was quite a few years ago, and it was the last match day of the season.
Yes.
And significantly better Borussia Dortmund.
I don't want to talk about it.
Played against Hoffenheim, and if Dortmund would have won, Hoffenheim would have been relegated.
Or drawn.
Just don't lose. And yeah.
Roman Weidenfeller did not like Hoffenheim getting relegated, so we had Kevin Großkreuz in goal. It was a crazy game. I don't want to talk about this game.
But anyway,
ever.
I'm just saying.
I don't know what you brought it up.
I brought it up. I mean, at least
there were plenty of other stinkers against Hoffenheim that could be mentioned, or Tony De Silva free kick, for example.
But at least this isn't like a Friday night match, because if this was an evening match in Hoffenheim, I'd already say Dortmund aren't going to win, because somehow they never do. I mean, I'm sure they have, but I mean, there are just so many. I have these flashbacks of red cards and Marco Reus and Hoffenheim, a rainy, dark night, and Zinsheim. But that's not the case. And this is a different Hoffenheim. This is Dortmund now kind of building on confidence after 3 matches against 3 really good opponents, comparatively speaking. And so... No, I think Dortmund will win this one. They just have to keep that focus. And the key thing here is, as long as you set the right players in your team, you will have that. And if there's one thing that I have confidence in when it comes to Niko Kovac, is he's the kind of a fuck around and find out kind of a guy. And what I mean by that is, he's not going to put up with players who aren't taking this seriously and who are not putting in 100% shift. And
that's why Jamie Gitten's not experiencing that much playing times.
Correct. And nor should he. He shouldn't be out there. Gio Reyna shouldn't be out there. And honestly, Julian Brandt, even though Julian Brandt tries, I will give him that. It's just not quite coming off for him. But maybe he was also fatigued. But if you're playing with the players that started the predominant minutes in the last 3 matches in particular, and then you can also throw in Mainz and Freiburg before that, with really the Barcelona away leg being the odd blip in that run, I think Dortmund's going to win this match convincingly. Now, not having Groß, I think, is a little bit of a hurt, because he's just creative and his passing is really good. But, honestly, then I'd be like, okay, fine, you slot in Julian Brandt and you can maybe figure out a system, put Chukwuemeka deeper, next to Mecha, and you have a really dynamic midfield. And I would play Riasson instead of Kuto, and then have Svensson in there. The back line is the back line, because Ben Sabini, I thought, has actually been playing quite well at that left central defensive role.
Yeah, he's been a little bit unlucky with the
two unlucky touches. Like, seriously, 2 unlucky touches. And we've been very critical of him, but he's been very disciplined in that role, because he's not asked to bomb forward as much, and he's been very disciplined in his approach. So overall,
he's playing that position for his national team too.
Correct.
Like you can see that he's not completely out of place. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and then up top, I would play Adeyemi and Guirassy. I would keep Bayer on the bench. Just why risk it? You can always bring him in later for fresh legs, and he'll have an impact that way. I think Adeyemi is just playing really, really well, and Guirassy is on a scoring streak. If there's one thing you don't do with a striker is put him on the bench if he's scoring.
No,
you want to keep that going.
Guirassy on the bench right now.
So I have every confidence in the world that Dortmund are not just going to win this, but are going to win it convincingly, despite it being away to Hoffenheim. But it's not a Friday night or a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night away to Hoffenheim. So I feel a little bit better about that.
Yeah, that would set us up for one hell of a game against Leverkusen, and if they win that, which Well,
Leverkusen won't have anything left to play for. Leverkusen will have nothing left to play for at that time.
But I have been burned by the word has nothing left to play for, because Mainz, in the game that will not be mentioned, also had nothing left to play for but pride. And we did not do so well. So this old nothing left to play for moniker does no longer apply to me or Borussia Dortmund. I wish it was so, but a lot of things really have to go Dortmund's way. Soccer or football or whatever you want to call it is such a because it's a low scoring game, is so much chaos, luck, and coincidence can play a role, and obviously refereeing decisions. You don't even know if these referees can pronounce the names of the players that are on the field. God, the VAR, the referee after the VAR review called Kleindienst Kleinschmidt. Must be embarrassing for both, for the referee of getting the name wrong, and obviously for Kleindienst to not be prominent enough that the ref can remember your name. Would have not happened to, say, Julian Brandt or Thomas Müller, that's for sure. But yeah, that being said, I am at least, and I said last week too, I'm now in the mode where I'm looking forward to the games again. There was a long period this season where I was like, oh, Dortmund's playing, let's get this over with, or I wasn't even watching because I had to work or something. But I think this has changed, and that is certainly a credit to this team, that they have turned things around to a level where it is enjoyable again to watch them. And I wonder if Dortmund will reward Kovac for that effort with a contract for the next season. Right now, all the reports indicate that he is going to be around next season too. I'm not entirely sure if that's if that's going to happen or not. But I would stick a pin in that discussion for now, Matthias. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, if he gets them into the top 4 or say 5th, then especially if they keep playing the way they have been, it at least warrants a serious discussion. Now, obviously, he's not out of contract until after next season, so I wouldn't say you need to jump the gun right now. But you maybe don't need to look for a replacement this summer when you're not sure how that market's going to pan out, especially because odds are, Stefan, I feel pretty confident in saying that we are not going to see a Leverkusen title contender after this season for quite a while. given that the two most important people in that club are probably going to leave. And so who knows where coaching carousel goes after that. So I would say just wait and see. Please don't do the whole, we're going to give him a contract extension before the season's up, because why? There's no reason for that. See how the season plays out and see, you have a sense. They should have a sense.
His contract doesn't have to be extended.
Not at all. I don't even think you need to give him a new one. I mean, he signed the contract. This is your contract. You signed it. Nobody put a gun to your head. At least not that I know of. And so I honestly would see no reason to give him a new contract or to extend the contract this time. I think that would be foolish. See how the season plays out. If Dortmund finish in the top 4 or 5, then I don't know if you necessarily need to replace him this summer, and then kind of go into next season, giving him a full summer and see how it starts unfolding. And then you can always make that decision next winter.
All right. We're in the wait and see mode. I definitely cannot wait for Saturday's game and hope it's going to be another positive outcome. The Bundesliga right now is completely unpredictable. I don't know who is going to drop points or win or whatever. It's going to be exciting until the very end, I feel. So, yeah, that's all I have to say for this week. So, everyone out there, thank you very much for listening. Matthias, thank you for hopping on with me. And I would just say, until next time, take care.